Ag Bioscience, the #1 ag tech podcast globally, is now available on video. Hear from leaders and innovators across food, animal health, plant science, ag tech, and agriculture. Mondays at 6 a.m. on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. While you're there, subscribe and leave us a review. It's the Ag Bioscience Podcast with Agronovis Indiana. Get more information at agronovisindiana.com.
This is Inside Indiana Business Radio on demand for Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026. I'm Gary Dick. Plans for a $7 billion data center project in Hammond are not likely to continue past this month. That according to Mayor Tom McDermott. Speaking on his podcast late last week, McDermott said he thinks the proposal from Chicago-based Decennial Group is going to fall apart before a June 30 deadline after a year of delays and extensions.
I have no confidence it's going to be done at all. And then I'm going to prove to them what I've been telling them, that was the last extension. I'm going to prove it to them on July 1st, which stinks. It's the best location in the state of Indiana, and I got operators and potential lessees that are messing around.
Governor Mike Braun has demoted Andy Zay from his position as chair of the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission just days after the agency approved a rate increase sought by AES. Braun announced on X that he had appointed Anthony Swinger, one of the state's newest utility commissioners, to serve as the new chair. Last week, the IURC voted to allow AES to collect an additional $71 million from its Indianapolis area customers through base rate increases. Allison Transmission Holdings has announced that its transmissions will equip 7,000 next-generation tactical trucks for the French military. French military vehicle manufacturer Arquus and Germany-based Daimler Truck are partners in the development of the truck for the French Armed Forces. Indianapolis-based Allison Transmission is providing the transmission for the 3-axle vehicle that features a 6-ton payload capacity. You're listening to Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Thanks for listening to this IBJ Media podcast. You're probably going to remember this ad. Do you know why? Podcast advertising works. 85% of listeners recalled hearing an ad during a podcast, and 70% of podcast listeners have acted after hearing an ad. So whether you're looking to be heard across the entire IBJ Media Podcast Network, sponsor one of our shows, or just start with a 30-second ad, IBJ Media can help. Contact advertise@ibj.com to learn more.
An Ohio summer camp is suing the owner of a fudge company in Wayne County, claiming the company is keeping the camp from accessing water it has a legal right to access.
The lawsuit was filed by Camp Manaheim, which operates in Indiana and just across the Ohio border. The lawsuit names Louis Keene as the defendant. Keene owns the Uranus Fudge Factory and General Store in Richmond. According to the lawsuit, the camp has rights to a private water line system that sits on property owned by Keene under an implied easement. But the complaint claims that Keene shut off the water line valve sometime in late May, depriving the camp access to water. He also allegedly threatened to have the camp leaders arrested if they tried to turn the water back on, according to court documents. Indiana law states that youth camps must use a public water supply if one is available within a reasonable distance. Camps must also comply with fire and building safety codes at all camp facilities. Keene asserts that his fire safety obligation was satisfied as one of the camp's 2 fire hydrants was operational. In response, the camp argued that it requires full domestic water access to operate, and that Keene's argument that fire compliance satisfies the scope of the camp's easement rights is legally incorrect. The camp is seeking injunctive relief, ordering Keene to restore water access to the camp and refrain from restricting access any further. Alex Brown, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
In Northeast Indiana, members of the New Haven Mayor's Youth Advisory Council have broken ground on Guardian Park, a new pocket park in downtown New Haven that was planned and funded by local students. The project began in the spring of 2025 when council members worked with Jones Petrie Rfinski to design the park. The group later launched a fundraising campaign in January. This is Gary Dick for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.